Today on Monkey Life. Baby orangutan Mimi from Moscow Zoo arrives in the UK to start a new life with others of her own kind.
Paperwork's all finished. She's now officially property of Monkey World.
And can male Loris Bruce woo female Loris Boo, or will he be unlucky in love?
She was really just a bit shocked by his forwardness and a bit taken aback.
Plus, a treat of crabapple brows makes some of the chimps, well, crabby. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Smells a bit macaque in there, but yeah, we're good.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's early evening at London Heathrow's Animal Reception Centre. Every year, thousands of animals, including fish, reptiles, zoo animals and pets, are processed here after their arrival on international flights. The park's newest addition is about to join that number, following a 3.5-hour journey from Moscow. She's 21-month-old Mimi, a Bornean orangutan rejected by her mum at birth and brought up and cared for by the keepers at Moscow Zoo. But now it's time to integrate her with others of her own kind. Monkey World is the European creche for orphaned orangutans, and the team are experts in looking after baby orangs.
Hey, you, madam. I'm back. I'm back.
Alison and Jarno have spent 3 days in Moscow with Mimi, getting to know her and gaining her trust. With the cooperation of the airline and the authorities, Mimi was even allowed to travel back with them in the passenger cabin of the plane. Every effort has been made to look after the welfare of this little orangutan.
She's doing really well. Quite happy, bright. You can see she's checking everything out. She's been laying back, having snacks, and even had 1 or 2 naps on the flight. The flight's about 3.5 hours long, and she had 2 naps. And at one point in time, sort of looked up like everybody's making too much noise around here, and pulled her blanket over her head and went back to sleep again. So I think she's done really, really well. It's just amazing the efforts that so many people from Moscow to London have gone through to make sure that this little orphan gets a family again. So we'll get her back to Monkey World tonight. And tomorrow, you're gonna have to play nice. Yes.
Jarno makes sure Mimi is fed and watered before they start the next leg of the journey.
It's so good. Whole journey, literally, she's just so calm. Just giving her some juice, ready to go all the way to Monkey World and join the others.
Mimi is kept in a quarantine room at the animal centre while she's checked over, and all the accompanying paperwork for the importation of live animals is processed and signed by the officials and Alison. Once everything is in order, Mimi is released into Alison's care and loaded into a special transit van.
But just mind your fingers, because she can be nippy.
Thank you so much.
It's now late evening, and Mimi and the team still have a long journey by road ahead of them. But it's all been worthwhile.
Paperwork's all finished. She's now officially property of Monkey World. And now we'll head down to Dorset and get her settled for the night. She's got to be tired, but like all children is like keeping herself up, which is good, because she should just crash when we get home. So really happy that she's finally here.
It's a damp day at Hananya's enclosure. The normally boisterous group of chimps are a little subdued. They're keen to get out of the rain and back into their playrooms. Inside, Rob from the primate care team has just finished cleaning, and is now putting down some fresh bedding and fresh vegetables for lunch. Today, there's going to be an extra treat. Staff at the park have harvested a large amount of crabapple browse. This seasonal treat might be just the thing to perk the chimps up. Rob and Wendy set about scattering the browse, laden with apples, over every level of the 2 playrooms, ensuring they'll all have a chance of finding some. When everything's ready, the chimps are allowed back in. Half of them run into the first playroom, while the rest burst into the second room next door. 4-year-old Thelma hitches a ride with Cherry as they all race to find a treat. The crabapples aren't a regular food for Hananya's group of 19, so it's bound to create excitement. But a bit of a squabble's breaking out on the other side of the wall. Cherry, with Thelma still on board, is picking a fight with lower-ranking Patricia, perhaps because she beat her to the apples. Next, she has a go at Kiki before storming out through the door. A little late, group leader Hananya comes through from next door to see what all the noise is about. Back in the first room, things are much calmer now, with everyone happily tucking into the apples. Cherry, with a large handful of browse, has now calmed down and climbs up to join Patricia on the top platform. Perhaps she's trying to make amends for her previous outburst. Everyone is happily enjoying the treats. Honey just can't eat another thing and decides it's time for a good old scratch. Thelma has worn herself out and wants some attention from Mum. She tries to walk across high-ranking female Joni's browse to reach her, but gets warned off. Aunt Evelyn quickly reassures the youngster and guides her around the back instead. After all the excitement and feasting, full and content, the group settle down for an afternoon nap. The small monkey team have been trying a spot of matchmaking with 2 lonely heart lorises. Boo, a female rescued from the Maldives 3 years ago, and Bruce, one of the rescued lorises from Hong Kong. Their first meeting a few days ago didn't go well. Bruce was keen, but Boo less so. His enthusiasm left her feeling threatened.
We don't know whether she's met any males before. She certainly hasn't done while in captivity that we know of. She was really just a bit shocked by his forwardness and a bit taken aback, and obviously she felt a little bit intimidated.
Since then, the pair have spent a few days on opposite sides of the house, where they've been able to weigh each other up from the safety of their own bedrooms. The 2 rooms are connected by a mesh tunnel. The sliding door at Boo's end has been left open, with the entrance to Bruce's room closed, meaning she can go across to see him, but can keep her distance if she prefers.
We made sure that the way we had the tunnel, it was her going into the tunnel to see him. She's going to him, sitting next to him by the slide, whistling while looking at him. So all signs are positive.
With the duo now seemingly relaxed in each other's company, the staff are going to give them a second chance at romance. Today, the doors at both ends of the connecting tunnel have been opened, and the hope is Bruce will have learned his lesson and take a more subtle approach.
So what we're looking for is them to kind of move around each other calmly. It'd be nice to have some vocalisations from them, some positive vocalisations from them. And obviously that what we really would like is either play or grooming.
To the surprise of the staff, Bruce seems to be playing it cool and remains stationary in his room. If Boo wants to meet him, she'll need to make the moves. With her interest piqued, she cautiously makes her way across to his room.
Boo's on her way through to Bruce's room.
But Bruce shows a distinct lack of interest, and, spurned, Boo returns to her own room, whistling to him as she goes.
She wanted him to follow her.
The staff know this is one of the female loris's courtship sounds, but nobody seems to have told Bruce. And when he doesn't take up her invitation, she makes her way back over to him. The staff are starting to become concerned about Bruce.
He's still not getting up. It's weird, isn't it? I hope he's not sick.
It's not looking promising. Boo, just to make sure her message is getting across, hangs upside down from the ceiling in the mating position.
Bruce, what do you think?
Just as everyone's losing hope, Bruce perks up.
He's moving now. Slowly. Good boy, Bruce.
And decides to join her. But now, possibly with an attack of last-minute nerves, Boo starts playing hard to get and runs back to her room. But again whistles to him as she goes. This time, responding to her call, he joins her, and the two gradually get closer.
She's at least holding ground when he's coming towards her, and she's not scared of him. She's not moving away. So far, much better.
Boo makes the first contact and begins grooming Bruce. Minutes later, his patience is rewarded, and Bruce makes his move. The park has now created 3 pairs of loved-up lorises, and the future of the European breeding programme looks hopeful.
And obviously not the end of the story yet, we've still got a long way to go. To see them together and to see them happy and interacting in a friendly way, it's just a really nice end to the story for them too. So we couldn't have asked for anything better, really.
Following a long journey from Moscow to Dorset, Alison has returned to some worrying news.
Hey, little man. How you doing?
The Woolly Monkey team are concerned about the health of their newest arrival.
To be quite honest, I'm really worried about this little boy. He's now about 2 weeks old. Really should be growing, strong, thriving, starting to climb about, take more interest in life, and mainly, you know, gaining weight and things. And none of those things are happening with him. One of the first things I noticed is how scrawny his tail was, and you can see the vertebra on his tail showing quite obviously. He's got no sort of muscling and tissue really around his tail whatsoever. His little legs are now looking really skinny. And 2 weeks ago when he was born, he was 480 grams. I've just weighed him a few minutes ago and he's now 420. So he's lost 60 grams in 2 weeks, where, you know, you might expect an infant to lose a little bit of weight in the first few days of life, but not just to continue over a fortnight to lose weight. So we have to turn the tide now. Otherwise, within, I would say, days, he would probably die.
But Alison already had an idea about what could be wrong, and after changing the little one's nappy, her suspicions were confirmed.
If you work with animals long enough, you sort of get used to smelling feces enough. You know what's sort of a healthy smell and what's not a healthy smell. And this little guy definitely doesn't smell good. He smells really rank. So I had a fecal sample taken and checked over. And sure enough, he's got a parasite called Giardia. And under John Lewis's advice, we're gonna treat him for the parasite. So it's just the tiniest amount of worming medication. And we'll see what we can do and if we can get rid of it. And then he should start digesting his milk properly, not being so grisly, and hopefully taking more.
The tiny Woolly is only 2 weeks old and has been hand-reared by the team since Mum Isla rejected him at birth. He's already spending time with his Woolly family in a specially prepared playroom where he can see and hear them, but without any physical interaction until he's stronger and more mobile. Alison is hoping that the tiniest dose of the drug, advised by vet John Lewis twice a day for 3 days, will do the trick.
So this is probably gonna be hideous, little man. I know, you're not gonna want this in your mouth at all. I know. Hang on, open up. I would hope that by the end of today, certainly by tomorrow, he'll start feeling better in himself. And then another couple of days for actually everything to clear off and out of his system. Because everybody's been working really hard to make sure he gets everything to develop into a strong, healthy, woolly monkey. But at this point in time, we really need to overcome his parasites and his rough start in life. So hopefully he'll turn the tide now and start gaining some weight by next week.
The squirrel monkeys are in for fun and games today. Sharon from the primate care team is hanging coloured plastic tubes around their enclosure.
This is some enrichment for the squirrel monkeys. So we've just packed these plastic tubes with wood wool, and in between we've got lots of waxworms and mealworms, which is their favourite treats.
In their native forests of Central and South America, the squirrel monkeys spend a lot of time searching for the fruits, flowers and insects that make up their diet. They lead busy and active lives, so energy-packed foods like insects are just the thing to keep them going. They're also a firm favourite here at the park.
In the wild, they have quite a high protein diet, so it's about 80% insects. They choose insects over nice juicy fruits. Waxworm for them is just heaven, so we try and get many innovative ways of kind of getting the bugs into them rather than just chucking them all into their enclosure.
Mimicking life in their natural habitat is an important part of looking after the squirrel monkeys' physical and mental well-being.
They're really active animals, which means they're very prone to boredom, especially our boy Charlie. He's a really clever lad, and he tends to sort of figure out enrichment really quickly, so we're always trying to sort of be one step ahead of him and think of new ways to kind of keep him active.
Charlie, the only male squirrel monkey in the group, is also the youngest. But despite this, he tends to dominate his female companions.
We've got a couple of old ladies, Topsy and Turvy, that came together, and then we've got Azzy, who's only been here for about a year or so. Charlie's, so he's a little bit different to the others, a little bit bigger, a bit more boisterous, but the other girls tend to take a bit of a step back and let him get on with it.
As well as the squirrel monkeys, there's also Chloe, a white-faced Saki monkey. She recently lost her partner Jethro and is having to get used to life on her own.
She's an older lady, so she doesn't tend to get too involved in the enrichment, but she does love her waxworms as well. So again, like the older ladies in this group, she'll probably hang back and wait to take what she can, whatever falls on the floor.
Today, the whole gang will have to work hard to get their wriggly treats of mealworms and waxworms. Hiding them in tubes forces the small primates to use their agility, strength and flexibility to get to the feeders, and then reach the rewards inside. Charlie is the most confident in tackling the challenge. His technique isn't the most delicate, but it works. Turvy is also getting stuck in, but being an old lady, she's a little calmer about the whole thing. Topsy soon realises she can collect the dropped or fallen insects from the ground with a lot less effort. Newest squirrel monkey to the group, Azzy, chooses not to get involved. Instead, she opts to relax and enjoy the lovely weather. Saki monkey Chloe doesn't show any interest in the puzzle feeders either. But she does love to sit out in the sunshine, and the staff will make sure she gets her share of the tasty grubs later on, once back inside. While the squirrel monkey group are having fun in the sun, next door, another troop of South American primates are about to get their own seasonal treat: grapes on the vine. Rachel is placing bunches all over the enclosure at the Capuchin Lodge, where Erico rules supreme. To cater for every group member, she's making them harder to reach for some and easier for others.
We've got a lot of big characters at the lodge. We've got Joey, who is very playful and loves exploring, so I expect he'll be all over the grapes. We've got Erico and Sean,
who are our big boss monkeys. Eriko's in charge and Sean's number 2, and I expect they'll be first on the scene to have a look. And then we've got lots of dominant females who are very good at going around and picking up the grapes after everyone else had a go.
But it's Caesar who gets a head start. As a low ranker, he's quickly taking his opportunity and getting his fill before the more dominant members move in. Marlowe has taken the easy option, finding a large bunch on the ground. While Abby's got it completely sussed. Grapes and sunshine. Perfect. Zoe is expertly tackling the fruit on the high hoses, using her prehensile tail as a fifth limb to balance and reach down for the food. Dominant male Eriko has spotted a bunch on the cargo net, but prefers to eat them sitting on a more solid platform. While leader Eriko and his sidekick Sean tend to target the food nearer the ground, there are 2 capuchins who love nothing better than being high up in the treetops. Elderly male Ringo and his admirer Scarlet were both born in the wild, then caught and used in a Chilean laboratory. They seem more at home above ground than many of the others, who've never experienced the wild.
Most of them have been pretty fascinated by the grapes. Even Phoenix, who usually keeps out of the way, has been busy looking for grapes in all the places that no one else is bothering to look up in the trees.
The grapes have been a big success. Almost all the members of Eriko's group seem to have given them a go. Once they've had enough, it's back to what they do best: foraging for worms and insects. Next time on Monkey Life. Baby Mimi begins to meet her new orangutan family, and first up is Roro.
I would consider whether or not you sleep them together overnight with the 2 rooms.
And Chimp Buxom demonstrates raspberries can be part of a perfectly balanced diet.